Coming to a television near you, Jackson native Nick Wallace will be one of the new contestants in Bravo's Top Chef.
One and only Chef Nick Wallace to help us whip up a quick, healthy dinner that will have the whole family asking for seconds.
If Chef Nick Wallace helped spearhead the effort at the museum, Nissan Cafe.
Wallace took a leap of faith, went into business for himself a little more than a year ago. As it turns out, that was a recipe for success.
A unique culinary experience at the Max with the chance to serve up some fine cuisine with a prominent Mississippi chef.
Chef Nick Wallace says farm-to-table eating is the key to a long life.
Nick is known nationwide for his appearances on the Food Network's Chopped, Cutthroat Kitchen, and Fire Masters. He's been named the best chef in Mississippi.
What are you cooking up in the lab right now?
This is kind of a close to a vegetarian meal. I'm highlighting sweet potatoes because, you know, we're sweet potato capital here in Mississippi. So I have a shallot demi that I made, and I'm actually gonna layer the sweet potato kind of steak with this raspberry and dewberry loose jam that's gonna be over the top. And then I have some dehydrated cheese that has a lot of colorful herbs that's in there, and we're finishing it with some lava salt. It's gonna be pretty unique. It's very intentional because I'm gonna put it in a bowl, and sweet potatoes is gonna be the star. I want you to be able to really soak in Mississippi, and I'm gonna show you why we're the hospitality state too. Yeah, we are.
Looking forward to it.
This is one of my favorite salts. I love kosher as well, but Saltberg is something that every chef has to have in its counter. I like it because it's different, it's infused with a lot of different flavors, and that's what I need. It's really good though. Good finishing salt for steak too. It's kind of bright, you know? No, it's just salt.
It's like
Look.
crisp. No, but it's crisp.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't linger too much. It's just
Yeah,
like
there you
short,
go.
sweet.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this rolling. This is caramelized up nice. It's like butter, baby. It's gonna be super packed with flavor. All right, this is good. So now just a little bit of agua, and we're gonna loosen everything up, and then we're actually gonna go straight to plating. It's gonna be a beautiful dish, super simple. The demi is like a shallot demi. Over the top, you have like some raspberries and dewberries. Dewberries is a local like wild berry here. We created that into like a loose jam. Over the top, you have some dehydrated goat cheese with some bull's blood and some thyme and some oregano. So the one thing that I like for people to understand me is I am so big on flavors. That's my thing, is flavors. So what do you think?
Look, no, I love my beef. I'm all about just maybe skirt steak, ribeye. Doesn't have to be Wagyu prime. If you were to give me this, say, yeah, well, this is all I got, I have no beef, I'm sorry, and I tasted it, I will not miss the beef. I wouldn't hold you against it.
Yeah.
What surprised me, when you think sweet potato, you think just sweet, starchy, but it's so rich, and the demi, like the city of the demi, and the whole just velvety mouthfeel of it, with the cheese on dehydrated cheese.
You do probably taste a little bit of the serranos in there. It's got like a little bit of heat in it. So we wanted it to be like mild on the sweetness, mild on the spiciness too. And you see that lava salt just kind of rounds things back together too.
It's a I like to think it's a well-balanced dish. In my brain, I was like, maybe, you know, sweet, but it's well-rounded. And it's rich. I really can't explain.
Yeah, cool, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
Appreciate that.
Hello everybody, welcome to Startup Motivation, where we come and bring you the most raw, the most wonderful, and life-changing stories of people that are doing something more than we're known for. People that are going above and beyond to represent their communities, influence our youth, or just make our world have more better human beings. Today, I find myself in the wonderful Jackson, Mississippi, with the one and only Chef Nick Wallace.
Thank you.
Chef, thank you so much for accepting. I know there's a lot of things going on, which we'll go into detail, but thank you for having us.
No, thank you for being here. This is an honor, man. I love your story. I love your mission. So I'm glad you're in the house of the sip.
Likewise, Chef, and I always want to pursue the connection with people that are doing something they truly believe in, not only for what they want personally, because we all have personal interests, but also people that want to extend their arms and involve their community just like you do. So tell me, I know that you grew up in a farm setting. How was that?
Yeah, so I grew up in Edwards, Mississippi, which my grandfather kind of insisted that we have like a homestead environment, and it was a powerful moment, and because you can walk out in front of the door and you might be stepping on sweet potatoes, you know, chickens, you know, it was free range, so they might be on the porch, you know, it might be everywhere, but it was designed very well, and it was on the backside of Edwards, which we didn't have to go into town for much. Milk at times, but the men went out and worked every day. And I'm telling you this as me as 6 and 7 and 8 years old. Wow. So I got a chance to kind of learn the land, but it was fun. I never had shoes on. I always ran in the dirt. I ate dirt. You know, so you always found little items, tree limbs, that kind of stuff to keep yourself busy. But also, when Miss Linnell needs things to be picked, like dewberries off the fence line or grab me some eggs, then she taught me how to do that, and I go out and I do those things. So she taught me how to really nurture things, you know, sit at this chair in between my legs, and I need you to fill up that bowl of dewberries, and I want you to massage them until all the dirt drops, you know, that kind of stuff. She'll be kind of over me, holding my hands together, showing me how to do those things. That was my childhood. So as growing up in that environment, you know, it was pretty explosive, but I didn't really realize that until I came of age. You know, when you're in it, you're happy, but you don't really know what this is gonna do for the impact of my life. I didn't know that then. True. But I could tell you a moment, man, that I fell in love with my grandmother all over again. I remember when she told me to go out and pick as many dewberries as I possibly can. And they always kind of, you know, it was wild, so they ran up to anything that, you know, like a fence or a tree, you know, they'll grab around, almost like squash and those kind of things. Okay. You have to train them, but the fence and the natural things, that it gets itself automatically kind of trained. So I went out and I picked these dewberries, but that's when I grabbed one out of the bowl and put it in my mouth. Dewberries has no sugar in it whatsoever. It is so sour. So when I tried one, I immediately spit it out. Still took, you know, took the bowl inside the house with my grandmother, but I was pretty much like, Grandma, please get these nasty things, right? She shows me how to wash them up. Once we're done with that, put them in a pot. She put water on them, and she started adding all these ingredients in it. But I noticed that she had like these mason jars that was sitting there kind of right next to it. So I ignored the fact. I went out back to playing. Well, the next morning, she always had breakfast ready at like 5:30. Everybody in the house had to get up at 5 o'clock every single morning. So I get up and, you know, do my thing, sitting at the table. It was always served family style. And my grandmother asked me to get a biscuit out of that cast iron skillet. She said, pop that biscuit open like a soda can, you know, soda bottle. So I pop it open, and she give me the jar, and I take that dewberry. She said, put 1 spoonful in the middle and treat it like a burger and put the top back on it. So I did that and sandwiched it, and she said, take a bite of that. So didn't think about dewberries or anything. I took a bite of that, and oh my God. I looked at this woman and just fell in love. And she explained to me, like, these are the same berries that you picked that you didn't like. And I just like, woman, like, you are one of the best. And she still is one of the best chefs I'll ever know.
Wow, what a deep connection. Not only something that marked you for the kitchen, but a core memory, right? A lot of us love our grandmas, guimas, abuelas, however we wish to call them. But at the core, at the end, love like grandma and teachings like grandma, you can't duplicate that, man. People do apprenticeships, people do stages, we call it in the culinary world, and it doesn't even come close to what a grandma can teach us.
No. And it's so many things just bottled up in one. It's just not about the kitchen. It's about how you show up at the tables, what kind of respect you're adding to whatever you're doing. You got to have manners. You know, it's so many things. But the one thing that my grandmother always sat back and smiled when she seen everybody sitting at the table. This is before the men had to go out and work. She loved because it was always another new story was created, but it wouldn't have never happened without the spread. So I love the power in food because the food really have just that power. It can bring people together no matter how stressful you are from working all hard. When you come home to a family atmosphere, to something like that, it's life-changing. It's life-changing.
I definitely agree. It doesn't matter what happens outside those doors. It's like our happy place, right? Meals much more than, look, here's this dishes. It's years of knowledge that she got passed down, in this case, her grandmother by her mother, and so forth, right? Nick, what kind of kid were you? Like, were you always timid? Were you quiet? Were you outgoing, kind of like, I don't say much, but I'm gonna cause mayhem?
Yeah.
What kind of little kid were you?
Definitely quiet, a little sneaky, you know. I'm a Gemini, you know, so my mother and my aunt and all always tease me about it because they said that I got a couple different sides, but I was always quiet, scared to get in trouble too. So I was that kid. I never wanted to get in trouble. And if I did something wrong, I didn't like to get in trouble. So you wouldn't see me nowhere. I mean, it's so many different accidents and things that occurred when I was a kid and all, because I definitely had it in me, but I just didn't want to see the outcome of getting in trouble. So, but that's what kind of kid I was. But I love to eat. I love food, man. I'm talking about food was a part of my soul. And I was shorter. I didn't start like getting up there in height until, you know, 17, 18 years old.
Okay.
But yeah, I was always curious. I was curious child.
Curious little Nick. So you have been always the sneaky kid, always curious, looking, smelling, tasting. Besides your grandma giving you all that and having those moments, what is it about the kitchen that you kind of fell in love with besides those moments?
I feel like the kitchen is my safe place. You know, I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about getting in trouble. I don't have to just, you know, worry about the food not giving me what I want. And we create this lifestyle in all of our places that this is a safe haven, and we have fun when we do it too. And a lot of times, like when I first started in this industry, I didn't have nobody to care about me like my grandmother, you know. But I always wanted to be that leader that always cared about his people. So now, like, even a lot of the partnerships that we have, I always tell them it's a we, it's not an I. Even though Nick Wallace's name is on, you know, I know everything, all of our vehicles and that kind of stuff, I get it. But it's we, and we share the publicity. I want my people to be up there talking through interviews. I want them to be highlighted. I want them to be great. I don't want them to go through any suffering in their personal life. We have a really golden partnership with this Black-owned credit union called Hope Credit Union here. And Hope Credit Union is changing people's life. It's teaching them about smart banking and, you know, small business loans, just how to get out there in the world and do things a little differently. But I'm a first-time home buyer like 8-9 years ago because of Hope Credit Union. But we have people on the team that's first-time home buyers in their 60s. You know, so it's one of those things that we don't really just care about the now or just this one plate. Like, we care about your life, like we really do. And I just think the product comes out a lot better too. we trust each other. We teach each other, and we guide each other, and we make sure that we are at the top of our game all the time. And I tell them that we have to do that because we're changing the game of the notoriety for Mississippi. And they always ask me, like, Chef, can you tell us, like, what's your thought on this? Like, why are you so passionate about this? I am, because I've heard those horror stories. I started doing TV back in 2012. You want to tell me, I could tell you plenty about these damaging words that people used to say just because I was from Mississippi. You know, the things I could only cook. My first show, one chef said that, you know, get out the way, Nick just need to be at the fryer because he's just gonna fry chicken or fry catfish and make comeback sauce. That's the thing.
Wow.
So I wanted to be able to show, like, I love soul food is what we call it, but I just think we're better than just that. That's just a tip of the bucket. I think Mississippi is very eclectic, and I think we can battle or, compete with anybody else in this world. A lot of things wouldn't happen without Mississippi. Just like without Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Alabama, we got a lot of these great places. But Mississippi is normally not on your tongue when the doors are closed in conversations. It has to be, it has to be. And so my little piece of life is we're gonna keep pushing it forward and keep spreading this message, and we're gonna open up a lot of doors for people. And I may be a small catalyst of it, but so be it. It has to be done.
I like how you are in the forefront and you are conscious of how, or you're a part in the process, and really you're not doing it for the hype, the attention. I'm on my road, I'm building my own dreams as I go, but if I have to be that first person who dares and kicks the door open, even if it's just a little crack, I'm willing to do that.
Yep. Yeah, and we're not motivated for money either. We do have a pretty strong brand, and we do run a for-profit, but it has to be about more than just financial gain. Really, honestly, we're always looking for longevity. That's what we want. We want to, because we feel that by being strong in this restaurant space, this nonprofit space, doing work out here for our community, it's going to be beyond Nick Wallace. So this is just a foundation that I am helping build for the next generations to take it on, to come. I'm 44, about to turn 45, and being in this restaurant space is real hard on your body. So you do need a reward or two from it from times. It beats you up. So that's the reason why I juggle a lot, because I need that to condition me. And I want to show, to my team of how powerful I am as planning out projects and getting things done. So I just, I'm here to take on that leadership role.
Admirable, Chef. It's, like I said, it's one of the rare moments where you see people like yourself that are so passionate, and once again, they hug their community and they're willing to take them with them. Chef Nick, being such a leader yourself, who are some of the people that influenced you when you were younger that you look up to or you admired, and then maybe influence the type of character that you now have?
Yeah. So it's several people, but I think I'll start with my family first. My mom, my grandmothers, I have two grandmothers. And I just lost Miss Linnell from Edwards.
My condolences.
Yeah, thank you. Last year, she just transitioned. And it was hard to take, but it's a necessary element that we all got to live through in our life. So they gave me the foundation, but throughout going through this career, I had people like Kathleen Bruno that I completely admired. Like, she was, you want to talk about a superstar woman chef? Outstanding. I always admire women in this industry too. I respect it. I don't feel threatened by it, but I think it's a necessary element that has to stay, and it has to be empowered a lot more, just like the male's perspective. But it's the balance that we need, just like we need all cultures that walk this earth to be powerful within their space too, including myself, including, you know, the people at Spice Avenue, which is Indian. We need them. We need all walks of life to be powerful. And the diversity is just a thing that has always been dear to me because of my family. So that's the reason why I look up to them so much, because they kept me protected throughout my life. Other people is Derek Emerson. You know, he's a wonderful chef here in Jackson, and he's always been making waves throughout the restaurant space. I worked with him when, you know, at a young age, 17 years old. He taught me a lot. He taught me what true passion is, I can tell you that. If you ever had a chef that didn't take no for an answer, and stayed on you when you didn't realize you needed that. And this is in my earlier of my career. So a lot of those things is good for me to kind of go through. And I'm glad I got my butt kicked as much as I did when I was younger. It was very necessary. It was very necessary.
Wow, the kitchen world, we can have a whole different segment about that, but you know how the kitchen world is, how it is, right? So, Chef, you get to have these wonderful mentors. You grow up to be this leader, as the best thing that I can describe it. But I know behind all the things that you're leading and heading, I know there has to be a little time for play. Besides the kitchen, besides cooking, what are some of the things that you like into? What kind of music do you listen to?
Yeah, so I love blues.
Hey.
Blues is something that's soothing to my heart. My mom loves blues, so I guess that's one of the reasons why I like it. You probably heard it as her having me in her belly, probably, I'm sure. I love to shoot pool too.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad taught me how to shoot pool. My dad was an unbelievable pool player, and he taught my mom too. So they have always been that duo really well. So for me, I do it as fun. So when people drop by my house, I pick on them a little bit, and it's always amusing. But they try to come in and beat me, and they can't. I just got an eye for it, I guess. And I like all genres of music, though. You know, I like pop rock. You know, I like R&B. I like rap. And I love more old school than new school.
I got you.
I'm an old school guy. You know.
So if you're in the kitchen, I don't know if you're the type of chef that allows or wants music in the kitchen. What would be a typical kind of jam that you would be playing in the background?
Honestly, it's some jams from Al Green that I love to hear. It can get your feet to rocking, especially when you're right there peeling about 50 pounds of beets.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, you need something to keep that brain going. Right. So I love that. Don't listen to really blues in the kitchen space because I don't know if it's kind of appropriate. You know, to me, I think jazz is. I think, you know, I love Al Green. I think that's one of my favorites. The staff love Luther Vandross, so that's one of the staples that we have in the kitchen, especially when we're getting pretty close to the end of the day.
Okay.
It's always like maybe lift your spirits kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we always carry Gatorade is one of our things that we carry in there. So when we get through cleaning up and close to the end of the day, we sit down and we do a cheers of old school canned Gatorade. That's what we do. And we sit there and just have a moment. We may sit on some crates. We may be like in a little round table and we just talk about, you know, kind of debrief from today, but we talk about tomorrow, but we also hint on, hey, what are you about to go home and do? What are you about to go home and do? And I just think it's good because it still gives you a little bit of that homey kind of feel, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, hey, thank you for today, you know, you work hard or whatever, get on out of here. But you have a moment because this person might have an obstacle to jump through, And maybe he just needs a listening ear, or maybe he needs a balance from a whole different perspective, whatever the case might be. And sometimes it's nothing. But at least they know that you care, that you can just sit down and have a moment to say, you know, hey, what's going on in your life?
Debriefing. I've never even heard of a debriefing that asks for that kind of, like, what do you have going on? What are you about to do? And you're right. Maybe something comes out of there. Hey, I'm trying to get here, but I'm gonna call somebody for a ride. Hey, I'll take you. Yeah. Or XYZ, right? It's just pretty neat.
I mean, we've had in one of those debriefing, we've had one of the team members to say, my church is doing something, like whatever weekend that was, and we're looking for food donations. So it's like, okay, well, hey, let's figure it out. And then they come back the next day. I done called a couple brokers and all. They did me a favor and dropped off these 3 or 4 cases. So they get there and I'm saying, okay, before you clock in, why don't you take this, go ahead and take it down to the church or wherever you can to store it so you'll be ready for the weekend. But those little small things, because if we did not create those moments, I would have never known.
True.
I would have never known. They probably wouldn't have never told me. They probably would have said, Chef is tired, Chef whatever, you know, he's got enough to deal with, whatever the case might be. Mm-hmm. But that's that kind of moment that you can kind of just release, you know?
Definitely.
Let your guard down.
Yes, and it's important, right? Camaraderie, trust. Hey, I don't know if I can show the camera. Let me see the can. Yeah. So a lot of you are going to understand. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Archie. You can see the man behind the magic of the cameras, Archie here, right behind us. But I'm not, unless we get a sponsorship, we will gladly show the front, right?
Yeah.
You ever drop the name anyways.
Absolutely.
But if you're watching this and you're like, what the heck is that? This is a real thing. I grew up in the South. Yeah. Nick, you did?
Yep.
Hydration drink and a can is a staple for us, right?
It drinks different, you know?
Yes.
People don't realize that it's so much better than drinking out of a plastic bottle.
By far.
Yeah, hands down.
And this is the thing, I don't know if there's just limits to release, it says throwback edition, but back then, we're not gonna say how many years back because you don't need to know all that, but back then, you used to walk into the convenience store and one of the popular hydration drinks used to come only in cans. And then glass and cans, and then it moved into plastic. But this, when I walked in, Nick, you offered me some drink, and I walked in your cooler, and I was like, wait a second, and I grabbed it.
Right there.
Nostalgia right here.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Definitely. Hey,
cheers.
How did this come about? Did the cheer at the end of the shift and all that, how did that happen?
Honestly, stress. Like another thing about being a leader is you got to evaluate your atmosphere. It's just like your home life. So, you know, our world is busy a lot and we have no time to just settle in or nothing with each other. And we had like a month of crazy revenue. And I'm talking about from the restaurant to we got 1,000 people brunch coming up on Saturday to the next week. We got 700 plated meal. Like we push it to the limit, but it was like beating each other up. I'm talking about from your feet to your knees. You know, I mean, all that food is coming through and it's just getting cycled and back out. I mean, just think about the cleaning of the kettles and smoker and everything else. And we just beat ourselves up and it's got very stressful. And it was like, you know, we need to figure out a moment. And one of the other team members said, hey, how about we just take a moment to sit down sometimes and just sit down and chat? Or, you know, he said a little food or whatever, but I was like, well, sometimes none of us try to eat. We all kind of trick our bodies through only eating like one time in the afternoon. That's just what we choose to do. Not everybody, but majority of us do that because that's the other thing about food too. You know, we taste food and around food all the time and we have to be careful on our health, you know? And a lot of times we're sitting in those one spaces and we're really not doing the workout. So we get in tune with each other by talking about these things, and if we get stressed out, it actually shows. And then we sit down and we talk about it. So anyway, we kind of kept beating each other up. The business was beating us up. And that's the reason why I will never open up a restaurant that's 7 days a week. I mean, I just don't think you should ever do that to all that huge investment. And it's not just talking about your equipment. It's talking about your team. That's your heartbeat. You can't do that to them. You know, you gotta have some downtime to regroup, to clean, to whatever the case might be. You need it.
Wow, I don't mean to generalize, but I would really believe, at least from the core essence of what that is, I would really believe more leaders in the industry, not only culinary but worldwide, would understand what you just said. The team is the heartbeat. The team is what gets you on the pedestal or gets you through those rough times, and it might be able to hold you down, right, as a team. But I think people forget that often, and it's easy for us to have goals, meeting the goals, and really not think about how much am I overloading my team? How long can I keep this going? How long can I keep doing it?
Yeah. It's just, you know, it's just super important. And I honestly I just want to be around. And every time I start talking like that, somebody that's a lot older than me, and they're like, you know, why you sound like you're a lot older? It's like a little bit of wisdom. Like, I just like to talk about it because it's been a while since I was 20, long time. And now I'm more closer to 50 than I am 20, you know, or even 30. So, you know, I want to be able to make a difference. And, you know, majority of a lot of chefs, man, we're not conditioned very well once we get up in age. You know, and you'll be able to see the chefs that are, like, they really have a good balance in their life. And I just choose to be one of those chefs that has a good balance in my life. And I want to be here. I want to be here as an elder. I want to be here spreading wisdom, or just seeing the magic happens and turning and keep burning. I just want to witness it. You know, that's it.
Nice. Where was the first pro kitchen that you actually stepped into? Like, did you go to culinary school first of all? But where was that first kitchen that you went in and you're like, oh snap?
Yeah. So the very, very first kitchen that I went into that changed the way I knew what a restaurant kitchen is supposed to be was a Mexican restaurant. That was the first restaurant that I ever worked for, and that was Fernando's on Lake Harbor by the reservoir here. And that's when I learned that I have to try to soak up as much knowledge as I possibly can, but two, I have to go out here and seek some other teaching. You know, I needed somebody else to teach me another angle of it. So when I started working at Fernando's, that's when I learned what a symphony is. That's when I learned what a true brigade of a symphony is. Those men and women could crank out a 200-seat restaurant, working and not fussing, not dropping things. They're talking to each other. Plates are smoking. Like, they're just moving things, and it's like that. And they're working clean, but they have it all down packed. And a lot of people know about this. You know, most of the Mexican restaurants you go to, of course, the refried beans is already done. And most of the time it's holding on the steam well, ready to fire. Like, they're ready. And they're getting the food out with, you know, entrees and all in 8 minutes, ticket times.
Good God.
They're just moving it. And this was a 200-seat restaurant. So I came in as a dishwasher. They wanted me to come in as a dishwasher first, so I came in as a dishwasher. And a few months later, I told them that I was good with a knife, so they let me start cutting all the bell peppers. Anybody know about Mexican restaurants and all? It's a lot of bell peppers.
Yeah.
So I was in charge of cutting bell peppers, so I was cutting 50 pounds a day. That's a lot of bell peppers. And then a few months after that, they put me on the line. So just imagine a black guy on the line with nothing but Hispanics. It was, I wish I had a picture to show you right now, and it probably would be one of the best pictures out there, but they was truly patient with me. That's what I love. I burned my hand probably every single day on the line because I couldn't keep up with them. You know, they was moving that fast. But after all, you know, I got a chance to really pick up the pace and get in the swing of things. And I'm just honored that I got a chance to have that to be a part of my life as my journey is coming up. So after that, I did seek, I was hungry. So I was seeking out there for some more. And that's when I met Derek Emerson. I worked with Derek and a couple of the other restaurants. I even worked at Outback Steakhouse. I had 3 jobs at one time.
Oh, wow.
Just because I was hungry, but I had a child at 18 years old too.
Okay.
So I probably would have never met you if it wasn't for Nikayla. Nikayla really put the hunger in my heart that I had to get out there and I had to make a difference. I had to figure it out. I mean, what else am I gonna do? I had to take care of her, and I was a young man trying to be a man, so, you know, the responsibilities are there, you know, when we make those decisions. But it turned out good for me. It was stressful, of course, but it turned out great for me. So I'm a lion now, I'm in a cage, and I'm busting out of here one way or the other. So that's when I met Kathleen Bruno, and Kathleen Bruno was the, lost my train of thought.
Okay.
So Kathleen Bruno was the culinary director for Hines Community College. And her husband, Louis Bruno, is a chef too. So he was opening up restaurants. She is outstanding. She's from New York. This Kathleen Bruno can throw down. So that's when I got that glimpse of what a true badass, and especially of a woman too, how great you could be. And that's, you know, I saw the Derek Emersons, I saw the Kathleen Brunos, so things kept getting better and better for me. So I got as much knowledge as I could from Hines Community College, and I was hungry for more. You know, I learned the basics of food, and I tell a lot of, we have partnerships with Hines now, which is great. Okay. It's like full circle, you know? Really? So now we get a lot of interns. We have a full partnership coming up, which is great because we're gonna need it for all our, you know, these 2 other restaurants we gotta open up this year. But, you know, that's the space that we're supposed to be in. I think everything is about being, you know, it should be full circle. I think when you're doing it right, some things you will see, it's like deja vu. Yeah. I've been here before, you know, kind of thing. You should see that.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. You go through your career in the kitchen and all this. There's something that really just caught my attention, and I can't let go of it. Yep. I know you came from a farm, and when you mentioned, hey, Yaku, we had chickens running around. If you could stumble up on the sweet potatoes. I know that coming from that environment gave you advantages that nobody else was exposed to. What are some of those things that coming from a farm put you ahead of the game, and talking in a culinary sense?
Yeah, I think it gave me the level of confidence that I needed. And I think, you know, being a great culinarian is all about confidence too. And I think when you can take your time, but when you have that sense of nurturing, you can nurture food. You know, it's just like raising a child in a way. But if you're blessed and lucky enough that you can be raised in that kind of environment, you have no other choice but to be outstanding. No matter if you are changing oil for the rest of your life, your home get the benefit, you know, and anybody else that you in contact with, no matter if you are a palate. Doesn't matter. When you've been growing up in that kind of environment, you're a superstar. And you know, it's just one of those things. Like it taught me so many things when I sit down at a table. It teaches me, you know, etiquette, you know, I know what table etiquette is now, but I knew that a long time ago. So getting out into this corporate world and all, it was, I showed people that I was kind of polished by a great soul of a person. And people got to see that. And I think once I started getting on TV, people got to see it even more. Yeah. But this is who I am. This is who I was raised to be. I was disciplined a lot in my life, and this is the outcome. But, you know, and that's one of the reasons why I'm always talking about like this slow food movement. Use your hands in the kitchen. Create these stories in your house. Create these foods. Use your hands. But slow food is very approachable. Slow food really needs to be like a staple within Mississippi, and that's one of the reasons why we're opening up this restaurant that's really dedicated after my grandmother, Miss Linnell. The restaurant name is Hen and Egg, and she's the hen, I'm the egg. And I want to be able to serve slow food fast. Okay. I want to be able to show that this can be a thing and it can be birthed from Mississippi. I want that story, and it's shaped around from a black guy that it's going to be able to change people's lives. Not just talking about financially, I'm talking about health too. And I just think it's super necessary, and that's Mississippi. Everything I just explained to you is Mississippi.
Wow, just the well-roundedness of how everything, like you said, comes full circle. Your experience in the kitchen, and we all have them. Back when I used to cook, there's always those experiences, those burns, those moments where somebody, the chef maybe yelled at you or got you in line. Yeah. But in some of those experiences, I'm gonna be honest with you, I cried on some of them, like maybe not in the moment, but after. Mm-hmm. Is there any particular scenarios where you were taught like those uncomfortable lessons in the kitchen that you're like, man, I don't want to go through that ever again? Yeah. I mean, you definitely learn from your situations in the kitchen. I've been in a hospital from the kitchen. I've accidentally stabbed myself in the hand from carving a watermelon because I was mimicking after this really awesome ice carver. And I was going to design a watermelon because, we are flourished with watermelons here in Mississippi. And I was going to design it just like his ice carving. And I was using a serrated edge knife. And a little bit of slip and it goes right through, and you're talking about 32 stitches right in my hand. Rushed to the hospital with a knife in my hand. So, taking things easy and doing the things that you know you can do. That's probably one of my stubbornness that I need to be careful with. If it's things I know that I'm not used to that I know I can do, maybe I need to come at it from a different angle. Literally. Yeah. Because, I'm not carving a watermelon, all the time, but I wanted to do it. And I thought that, hey, I can do whatever I can, I need to, and I can do it. This is nothing. That's one of the lessons that I learned. Were you just like in shock, like, oh no? Oh yeah. I was a crybaby too. Oh, yeah. Medic. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize how dangerous a kitchen is. Like, if you really think about it, you deal with like steamers, you deal with knives, like how you preheat your pots and pans during rush service. If you go through a rush, and all it takes is a little, right? That's it. All the scars here. Those days. Oh yeah. It happens, but I can tell you, I might not have fingerprints as much because things hide, so they may be all gone. But yeah, but you know what? I wouldn't take another career. I wouldn't take it at all. I love what I could do, and I love what my journey has taught me. And I admire so many chefs out there now, and I'm glad that I get to travel because of work. I'm glad I get to travel because of, being out there in the media. I've been able to make a lot of friends out there,
but it's some really great talent out in the world.
Wow.
This is a good place to be in.
You were just talking about it earlier, right? There's a lot of talent that comes from here, and a lot of people don't even know that a lot of people like you or other chefs come from this region of our USA. Mm-hmm. Is there a particular somebody that you haven't gotten the opportunity to meet or you would like to cook next to? You're like, man, Jaco, I would have to love to have a 5-minute convo with this person.
Well, just recently, I got a chance to go to Chicago to actually go to Mars Wrigley, the M&M area, which is awesome. And, you know, it feels really good when companies like that, of that magnitude, can call you and say, Nick, we want you in Chicago. We're having a Black History Month program, and we want you to be inspired to cook a dish for Black History Month and do it for all of our team members, which you already know they have a lot of team members. And just to see that power of a thought by thinking of the waves of all different cultures throughout the years, you know, throughout your days, like you're really giving back, and you're showing all people of color, and it just doesn't stop there for Black History Month. They do this year round for every holiday that they need to cherish, because they're so diversified. So I was super honored to be able to tell stories and talk about my past and the reason why I'm cooking this dish. And at that point, I think it's an opportunity to really get deep into the story. So my grandmother used to explain a lot of stories to me about how a lot of miscuts and all really, you know, really sophisticated now. Chitlins, gizzards, livers, and that kind of stuff. But she was saying to me that a lot of that was waste food back then. And, you know, a lot of the slaves and all really had to improvise and embrace what it was and be creative to figure out how can we make this delicious and put it on the table for our people. And we figured out a way. Everything from oxtails to everything. So I did a pork neck bone, and very, very cheap cut of meat off the pig, full of bone marrow, lots of meat on it too. I made a curry because I wanted to have a balance of a whole lot of things, but I wanted people to kind of jump into my world just for a moment. And I got to explain that and also feed so many people that shared nothing but love back with me. I'm talking about hugs and tears about thank you for sharing this life story, because it wasn't really about me. It was about the life of where I'm from. I'm just only birthed from this. It's a lot of people that lost their life from the struggle or whatever it is, and I just want to embrace it and just show people how we all are in this together, just like you're all eating this one dish that came from this struggle. Like you can get teary-eyed, but you can embrace it right now with a smile. Like it's a beautiful thing now, because we're not going back there. So let's embrace some of the stories and be kind and pay respect from it in this way. So that's the power of food that I completely love. We could do this, and we can write our own story in a way too. Yeah. And that's the power of being a chef too. It's just like we're artists. This is the painting that we're painting today. And majority of the time, it works. Not all the time, but majority of the time, it works. Because we sit back and give it, you know, thought. And we pay respect from it from that angle too.
True, very, very true. And I know just by hearing you speak, looking at you, how you express yourself, I can tell that you believe this to your core. It's something that it's not only something that comes to your mind and you're passionate about, but something that you implement on the daily in everything that you do. Chef, you talk about having representation of Mississippi and the table. Mississippi being at the table, and also not to forgetting about Mississippi. What does that mean?
Well, when you look at, just say if you look at a lot of these awards, like James Beard Foundation, I do understand that they have a lot of different criterias, just like a lot of other people that host awards and go out and try to find the best of the best and feature them. Now, I'm only speaking this because I have been in this space working since I was like 16 years old, and I'm almost 45. I've opened up restaurants. I have been a part of the community. I have cooked consistent food. I have received like best chef of Mississippi 3 years running. I have received best chef in Jackson 6 years in a row. I mean, all that, and it's fine. It's kind of a community endeavor, you know, people that's around here, and I appreciate that. But when it comes to outside of Mississippi, when you're looking at like some of these awards, like James Beard, I never get picked. And dude, I'm on the front cover of Visit USA magazine, and that magazine is not in the United States. I'm always receiving one that's in Chinese language or, you know, in Portugal. And that's not, I mean, that's not the tip of it. And I'm probably the worst person to sit right here and gloat over my career and tell you about all the awards and all that, but I just don't understand how things are not even when it comes down to, it's beyond race too. It's circles, it's friendship, it's in-kind things, but it's not about the authentic truth though. So that used to be my world, that I used to try to impress the world beyond Mississippi just so I could get nominated one day from one of my endeavors. Never happens. Lick the wound and keep going for the next year and let's see, can we do it again? And so now, by going through all that, it's not a prize for me anymore. The whole time I've had the prize here the whole time. That's the prize. I didn't need them to be on all the TV shows. I didn't need them to get the award for best business from the SBA for Mississippi. I didn't need James Beard for that. I didn't need James Beard for Visit USA. I didn't need them for anything. Mm-hmm. I don't need them to go out and find investors. I don't need them to make sure I got clientele. I don't need them. So the space for Mississippi has to be in people's conversation more, because if you bring up Mississippi in conversations, I should get included at least a little bit, you know,
yes,
of people that's just trying to make a difference. And I'm not the only, you know, I'm not the only person at all. There's plenty of amazing people around here in Jackson. You got Oxford, you know, you got Ocean Springs, you got some wonderful chefs out there. But when you look at the overall picture, it is what it is. You can't ignore it. So anyway, if I was to ever get it, I don't know how I would feel anymore. But I do know I am content with it. And that's what I mean about Mississippi kind of being in a part of the conversations. Because if you're talking about Mississippi, you will be thinking about those people that may be cooking great food in a rural area. You know, it's not just the new hype, the new best thing that's happening. Most of the time, the new best thing is what gets it. But what about this new old thing that is still just as popular as that new thing? What about that?
True.
You know, what about those people that's been looked over? I mean, I could tell you 2-3 dozen people that deserves some great recognition here just in Jackson. But it never happens though. And I don't want to just come at it from a negative perspective, but somebody is holding a lot of people back. In the world, I see that the world is like that, and so I defend Mississippi because the majority of the time when I go out there and do competitions and these judges are tasting my food, majority of them haven't never stepped a toe inside of Mississippi. And the reason why we're doing this festival this weekend is because that's the part of the change. Now, Buddha never came to Mississippi. He's here. Damaj never came to Mississippi. He's here. Ashley from Asheville's never came to Mississippi. Now she's here. Do you imagine all the other people that's just coming to the festival, never been in Mississippi because of horror stories, because of past life and all that? Mm-hmm. So the system is rigged in a way, you know? Either they hold you back or they dump crap in your face that holds you back, that tarnishes your image. So when do we get relief from it? So I'm here to defend it, you know? And I just think we should be a part of conversations that's great. Food is great. Agriculture here in Mississippi is great. We should be a part of that. We got great writers. We got great storytelling here. We got great talented people here.
I definitely agree. And I like how you said, like, don't forget about us. Like, Mississippi deserves a place in the table that everybody's eating at. And I do think that a lot of people can take offense to us saying, hey, look what I've done. I deserve some kind of recognition, but not in the sense of give me an award, but give me the work I've put in, right? Give me it, show it, and also show the generations to come that all this hard work that you put in, it's going to pay off some way or another. I would understand if we were doing something negative, or hey, people doing something negative get more recognition, get more spotlights than people who are trying to drive change just like you are.
True. Yeah. So I just think, you know, just be confident in who you are and speak your truth, you know. And even to a lot of people that's just coming in the industry, that's young into the industry, hold your own. It's a lot of stress that chefs goes through. I mean, just look at the Michelin level. You know, they're trying to set that bar. And when you have that bar set, you're trying to keep it there, you know. But think about the ones that's trying to get there. You know, it's a lot of hard work. It's consistent. You have to be consistent because one day you will fall off, or one day you might not be good enough, you know, whatever the case might be. And chef has feelings. We're human just like anybody else. Yeah. And, you know, you have a lot of drug abuse, you know, alcohol abuse. You have a lot of depression. It's a lot of things that goes on because we're people pleasers, but we need the people to survive. So we need you to tell us that our stuff is good or completely be honest with us so we can get our stuff together. But we need to be good at our game every single time. And I'll say that again. We don't need to be good. We have to be great. We have to be great. Our taste buds have to be there. Our cooking techniques, methods have to be great. We have to be storyteller. We have to envision things that's being different. And that's the place that I'm in because on one hand, I know how I've been raised and I've been fed nothing but great food all my life. And it has the notion of soul food, and I love it. I love braised greens. I love what we can do by, you know, pot liquors. I love cornbread. I love things that's being braised in a skillet. I love that kind of stuff. But then on the other hand too, like, that puts me in a shell because that's what people think that you can cook, and that's it. Yeah. So what I do is I still cook that great soul food, but I also can be a visionary and make things that can be on any level out there. I could do the same thing or better, but I'm doing it within my realm. But I don't like to be put in a ball, you know, or in a shell, you know, and just be stuck there and forgotten about. I just refuse that to happen to me, and I'm sure my team members say the same thing. We just want to be noticed, and we just want to have a seat at the table, just like Mississippi deserved to have a seat at the table. every table. We supposed to be there.
I know that comes with a lot of passion, hard work, determination, and a bit of frustration as well. It's really tempting to always be influenced by who you know. And I'm talking just realistic, people who make those kinds of decisions, who they know, who their buddy is, and we just have to be realistic. A lot of times, having a friendship or knowing of somebody influences a lot who you put in the forefront of events, of recognitions and all that. Having said that, Chef, what is something that you now are working on? I know you have a couple projects going on, and I know you have some things opening up here in the near future, but can you bring us in and tie us to the present Nick Wallace plan right now that you're working on?
Yeah, so yeah, we're really focused on the NWC, the Nick Wallace Culinary experience all the way around. And our community efforts are getting stronger. Homeless shelters get a visit. They visit the kitchen once a week. So we just do a weekly call now to our brokers saying things that we could do to support. Stew Pot is one that we're supporting now. We have a commercial kitchen here in Midtown, which is right across the parking lot of Preserve, which is going to be the future Culinary Center, which is going to be a workforce center that is going to be able to really hit at-risk youth and adults. If you want to get into the industry, you'll be able to come in and take, you could do 3 levels of being a cook to come in, server. You'll be able to learn the ins and out of a grocery store. We're going to open up a small footprint of a grocery store, and we're going to do a lot of farming training too. So that's the vision for Midtown. The commercial kitchen is doing great. We have several partners. We do chef's tables here. We do all of our catering here. We have our vans parked here, so we unload and load out here. We do a lot of staff training here. We do farmers come here and sample and demo out product. We have meat purveyors that comes here. We cook on site. We have people that brings all their district managers and all here of new product that we actually are promoting or that we want to be out there to be distributed. So we are in that world too. My spice line, Nick's 26. My spice line, Nick's 26, is doing very well. We do a lot of the shipping here, so we ship all across the world. And I'm glad that it is still valuable and well. We're in about 22 stores.
Oh, wow.
So we still got some ways to go on that, and we're finally about to get in cahoots with Amazon now so they can help us with a lot of those endeavors so we can push out more and get it out there easier to the world. We have a cafe in the Civil Rights Museum. It was very intentional to have this place. I did the opening for the Civil Rights Museum when they first opened. And it was such a dream come true to do this with the President of the United States was here. Me and the team, we came out and we cooked great food, and we was here, and I think we fed like 1,500 people. 2 years later, we got offered the restaurant for there, and of course we took it because now people visiting in and visiting the Civil Rights Museum here in Jackson, Mississippi get to see us first before they go out to the world to see anybody or go to a grocery store or other restaurants or maybe get, encounter somebody on the corner, whatever it is. We get to set it up, the hospitality front. We get to set up the impressions to everybody that steps in Mississippi to just set the bar high. Now you can go out and other people can set it even higher than there, but I like it because we get to set it here. I have a exhibit, my personal exhibit is being designed inside of the cafe. Oh, wow. So you'll be able to walk in and see kind of my past to present story, moms, my career that's been in film, dad, grandmother, farming. You'll be able to see all that, which is great. And that's the benefit of being centered around a museum. They get to kind of help you curate your story, which is wonderful. So one of our things is it's time for us to put footprints out there. and hen and egg is one of the first footprints we're putting out there. And slow food serve fast. And we're going in Ocean Springs, which is on the coast of Mississippi. It's about 2.5 hours away.
Okay.
And it's going to be located right next door to the Walter Anderson Museum. Very intentional again.
Oh, wow.
Right across from Boutique Hotel, but it's a resort status, so very walking traffic. It's a bike community out there, so we're gonna have a bike lane for hen and egg, so you could just ride your bike through, just like a drive-through with a car, get your food and keep it moving. It's gonna have an exhibit in there, which is featuring Walter Anderson's museum, which Walter Anderson was like a traveler throughout Mississippi, and he resided on the coast. And I thought it was great for us to be kind of centered around people that's been these heroes for Mississippi. So that one is gonna open early fall. And then we have a hen and egg location here in Jackson that we're opening up. And we're gonna open that one up this summer. The one in Jackson is gonna be a lot bigger. And it's gonna be open breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's gonna be surrounded by nothing but event space. So we have our work cut out for us. But that's one of the reasons why we debrief and kind of, really talk with each other and stay in each other's head, because honestly, when the going gets tough, I mean, we get going. We really do. And I'm just happy to be able to see the future of us, how we're gonna be able to take care of the team, grow from here.
Definitely a lot of great things that I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see what hen and egg will flourish to, and I know you have your versed vision and the homage that plays to your late grandma. May she rest in peace.
Thank you.
I really look forward to it, and I don't know. Hopefully, I could be here for the opening and witness it firsthand.
We're gonna make sure that happens.
I wouldn't want to miss that.
Because I didn't tell you, my NFL team that I support. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Really?
Out of all teams, huh?
I know. What is that? I saw somebody in your kitchen with a beanie of the Steelers. I was like, I don't know, that's on purpose or what?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He is crazy about Pittsburgh, probably just as much as I am. But anyway, I thought to say that because we was talking about food in Pittsburgh. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have any particular favorite player currently for the Steelers?
Just the coach, Tomlin.
Tomlin?
Yeah, okay. the coach he is the team.
I got you.
He's that leader, that motivator, you need it. I kind of see myself, he's taken some beatings out there, but he's a super coach, and he might not have the best players, the best complete team, I would say, but he always get the best out of everybody, and everybody get the best out of him. And I think he's probably the number one football coach in the NFL, in my opinion.
Shout out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
By coincidence, I'm living there, so
there you go.
Coach, if you're watching this, shout out to you. Nick, you've walked us through a wonderful story about your beginnings in a foreign background and all that, going through the culinary scene, getting all that. Being a leader not only for your family, but also in the kitchens that you get to step into. With all this being said, what's next for Nick besides all the projects? What's your ultimate goal? And with that being said, what are some of the folks that you right now can see and you're like, these people are going places, some of the youth in the culinary scene at the moment?
Yeah, I'll speak about the youth though. It's I have a few that's on my, that's on my radar that I think is going to be great. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so consistent with being in their ear. And they think sometimes I'm super tough, even if they're just doing some brunoise cuts with a knife. And if they're not doing it right, the best advice I ever got was people to stay on me and did not just hold things back. That was the best things I got. I always got the best advice because it came from the heart. It may have came out of frustration. They may have gotten tired of telling me 2 or 3 times, but it came out. So I try to stay consistent, but I got a few really good young people that is going to be stars.
Oh, wow.
And I just want to see it happen for them and their family, more important for their family. And I think for me is, it's always stability for me, and I have stability, but it's always some form of stability that you want. My family is, I adore them, and because I was raised with not a lot of financial stability, it's a lot of stigmas I want to break. That is one. I want to break that for the generations to come. I mean, I just think my family and anybody that cares, if you care about your family, if you really want to break some of those stigmas, you can. And I look at my family tree all the time. I don't have no uncles, I don't have a father, I don't have no grandfather. I'm the eldest too, I'm 44. So a lot of the youth, they come to me like I'm grandpa, which I have a few gray hairs.
But not that many.
But not that many. So, but I take that as, you know, wisdom too, but it is some things that may need to change. So I look at some of those things because life is gonna go on with or without you and me. But it's all about the stability that we, you know, had a chance to put our pinky toe in to make a difference for people to have longevity of a comfortable life. It needs to have, you know, things that they need to accomplish in their life, but they need a chance to be able to win. And this life is not easy. And unfortunately, you need some type of stability, and you need some type of a head start. You need somebody to push you on that bike until you can get used to or catch those pedals and keep on going. And I just want to be able to give, you know, my family a head start. Just give them a head start and let them do their own work, because they got to put in some work too. But I think we have the motor to do it. And so that part, again, I think that's when things are going to get very comfortable for me.
Amazing. Chef Nick, thank you once again for your time and being open about sharing your story. The camera's all yours if you want to share anything with it. There you go.
No, but thank you for this opportunity. I just want the world to be able to see a little piece of Mississippi. This is Mississippi. I am Mississippi. We are authentically great. We have a very rooted lifestyle. Come and visit sometimes. And let us show you what real hospitality is. But thank you for watching.
Once again, I'm Jacopo Valderrama. You can find me on the links to my profiles here. I will be adding Chef Nick Wallace's social media, so please go follow him. So click and subscribe for more life-changing interviews like this. Once again, I need you to think about that. Peace.